These guys are the first two that I hooked up with in Durban. Meet Eugene and Lindo. Eugene is closest to me. Lindo is there on the left. Looking back at these pictures now, I can tell how badly these guys were messed up at the time. And the truth is, I was just a mark to them. Certainly in the beginning. But after a few encounters, a few meetings, things started to loosen up. Eugene offered me the opportunity to go and film some guys doing heroin. He even said, would you give them me some money? I can give them, get their heroin. I said, no, I won't pay for that. But if they're doing it, I'll go and talk to them. And that's when I first met Patrick. This is him pictured here. Months after I first met him, many months after I first met him. He's had a difficult time, and at this time of these photos, he'd been beaten up as well. But we decided to try and help him out. We are gonna get some clothes for Patrick. Watch his space. Some shoes. It's busy, huh? Let's have a look. Lindo, that guy you saw at the beginning on the left side, he went home to his family. He cleaned up, and people were really chuffed about his situation. He approached me one day while I was doing a live. Said, Dave, I've been clean for some weeks now. It was so awesome to see. The other guy struggled a little bit, but Patrick did come clean, and at this time he was I wouldn't say perfectly clean, but he was really on the mend. Unusual scenes for me, I'll be honest. It's been a while since I was in a township. Yeah. I went to what's the last township? Tembisa in Johannesburg. I've been to Soweto before. This is the day we took back to his granny. She lives in Nanda. This is her house, and this is one of the areas that's just been hit by the floods. So we don't know how they're doing. But this was the day we took him home. It was later than we planned because our car's radiator blew up some 3 weeks before, 2 weeks before, I can't remember now. On the day we were due to take him home. We filled Granny's larder with a whole lot of food. She was so happy. And Andrea gave out sweets to some of the children in the local area. A very special moment for us all. But it was, even Patrick said afterwards, he said, I can't believe you white guys came in here for me. Because it's not many people that would come into this part of town. And here's a guy we came across who'd been badly beaten up and just trying to help him out. There were so many of these stories.
My hands are. Thank you so much for all your help. Thank you so much.
This is Patel, a gardener at one of the places we stayed at a lot. Really nice guy from Malawi. There's so many like that. This is Gus, a dog that I loved. It was also, that's Bunu, a monster of a dog that's easier to contend with on the farm. There's Francois the farmer, who did such a good thing for us. He really did change the trip to South Africa with his kindness. In return, I fell out of a tree for him. No, I said I would do some pruning and scratch my arm coming out of a tree. It was kind of funny. I couldn't move my arm for about a week because that scab wouldn't stretch. Just part of the story. Francois was so moved by my activism, he really wanted to help out, and he certainly did that. We were able to go back to Durban, start doing more activism, and wow, it really changed the course of our journey. Andrea really started getting in on it as well, and yeah, I was moved by this conversation she had with a young lady, a lady who had to sell her body to get by. Just so many tragic life stories unfolding there. Meantime, we still had a little boy, or have a little boy to raise and to school and to entertain and to keep stimulated. This has been one of the biggest challenges of this last year. But we certainly made many friends. And this is a guy who says he's Nelson Mandela's son. I really never got the opportunity to kind of dig into that. It was a busy day or a day with my father, and so it wasn't really the right thing. And how about this poor dog? Just caged in a terrible situation right by a cell phone tower. We moved out of that place the same day we found out about the cell phone tower. But speaking of cell phone towers and satellite dishes, it's nuts around the poorest places. They are just why? Because propaganda is the most important today. Hey, and look at this. Eugene looking really healthy later on in the trip. He pleaded with Andrea to stay with him this day because there were security guards who would have hurt him if he wasn't sitting with us. It's crazy. This is Freddie, Rodney's brother. We had some interesting times with those two. This is a guy I met at one of the events I went to. Flat Earther. These people were getting fined for going to the beach, and these are some of my friends that I met through Dudu. Awesome guy. And this is us going to try and get on a radio station, see if we can't make some noise about the lies. Unfortunately, it came to nothing, and it was all conducted in Zulu. I didn't understand anything, but they really wanted to get me in front of a mic. We invited them to tea with us one day. Awesome. Yeah, they are having tea, and yeah, they loads of sugar. They do like having their sugar in their tea. Dudu and I at an event one day. Down at the beachfront. He was just so I'm still in touch with him, by the way. Again, I feel sorry for this guy. And more examples of satellite dishes, crazy poor places. And all of these are crammed right on the side of this building because it needs line of sight. And of course, none are pointing up towards satellites. We were such monkeys. Anyway, this was Patrick visiting us one time at an apartment we were staying in near the harbour. It was a special moment, and for him, I think a unique insight into how people live. We found a pet shop that didn't insist on the face bandage, so we visited quite often, and we got friendly with some of the staff and the creatures there, as you can tell. Visited my mother's plaque at a church. Well, I didn't get to the one in the mountains where I scattered her ashes with my sister and my father, but many years ago. But we gave her a flyer, so pleased about that. And this is at the church, would you believe? Can you imagine going to church and then having to do that? Unbelievable. And then there was this gentleman.
Carry on.
So we'll work for that space.
Yeah.
But now we will allow somebody to come. We'll allow somebody to come and say he's better. He's bringing something better than what we're having, and then we end up destroying ourselves.
I think the only way is love. Like Marley said, actually, is love. If we go to war with the system, then we'll only have more war. You know, we got to turn the other cheek and realize that this system is actually intended to make you feel like you're small rather than you're the king. You should be the king of your world, and I shouldn't be able to come into your world and affect you at all. That's the golden rule. And the government has overstepped its mark. It was employed by the people, should not be the master of the people.
That's why I'm saying to you, if we're brothers.
What a pleasant man, but I have to say, unfortunately, too well educated to realize how much he's been deceived. He's not the man who told me I'm the new Nelson Mandela, obviously, because we couldn't agree. But he was a very nice man, all the same. And one of the few that I got on camera, so I thought I'd share it, just a snippet here. And no trip to Africa would be complete without a little bit of wildlife action. And yeah, we got to see a whole range of buck, giraffe, zebra on one particular day on a drive out with Francois. So I thought I'd share a few pictures of that. And this is when the car...
We haven't abandoned the car, haven't been able to sort the key thing.
And then these guys, Patrick, they stayed in the car overnight. Oh, here's Gertrude. She's a Zimbabwean lady we befriended. As well as love and friendship, we were able to help her out with a little bit of finance, and that was thanks to the generosity of the subscribers to my channel. So I just need to extend her gratitude for what we were able to do, and for these folks as well. There were so many of them. People who just didn't get the right role modeling, the right opportunities. Oftentimes it's the father that's absent, the mother's been traumatized. There's so many different things. It's a complicated thing. But here I am doing something simple, a little bit of rainproof chalking. And here's rain, or rainbow, double. Quite beautiful, down at Vaughan and Shanae's place in Cape Town. They really helped us out, as did Michael and Angie and Rod at the forest. So it's got to be mentioned here. But, we did nearly 10,000 miles just in the time we had the two cars, Francois' car and Francois' brother. I'm so grateful. And you know what? All because the earth is flat. The water is level and horizontal with every other resting body of water on earth. It's a no-brainer. Physics. Basics.